Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger. My friends, I am here today to showcase you the Diesel Mech in Diesel Legacy. This is the newest announced character for the game. A bit of a big boy character, as you can see. If you see any resemblances to maybe some other big characters in fighting games past, I'm sure it's purely coincidental. But if you need someone to showcase a big character, well, I'm probably the right guy for it. So that said, first off though, if you don't know about Diesel Legacy, upcoming fighting game, a bit different than the average fighting game in that it can be 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 or say a free-for-all. There's multiple ways to play, and it's done in the classic lane-based system, and that there's 3 lanes of play. So given everything that you can do in this game, battles get very crazy very fast. And if you want to try it out yourself, well, now you can. So starting on June the 10th, running through June the 17th, you can just play the demo. And it's a very full-featured demo featuring new character Diesel Mech, a very good training mode, as we'll see here. We got all the fixins. And as for the game itself, I've actually covered it and some of the other characters on the channel before, so check the video description for some of those videos. But yeah, if you want to try the game out, the demo's out very soon, beta if you want to call it that instead. You can see it for yourself for free. I think it's worth your time to check it out. Definitely a game made by and for fighting game fans. So now, right before we get into our character showcase here, I'm not lying about the training mode being good. Hey, you like that Street Fighter 6 frame meters? We got that there. Hey, do you want to see all the hitboxes? Don't worry, we got you. You don't got to check no wiki or nothing. It's all here in game. It's all good. Now, as for Diesel Mech, kind of a big guy. I'm a fan. Let's put it that way. And not only is he a big robot, he's actually a proper mech in that he's being piloted. And who is piloting him exactly? Well, actually, there's a cat inside. So there's a cat piloting this mech, and don't worry. The cat can actually do some damage, as when you throw somebody, they're locked in with the cat, and the cat will literally rip them to shreds. Now, as a bigger character, it comes with some of the big character problems, but also some of the big character bonuses. Can I hit him, say, at the top of his head where you couldn't hit a normal character? Turns out, yeah. But also turns out, notice how these are bouncing off his head. He might be taking the damage, yes, admittedly, but he does have passive super armor. Now, what it is this regenerative armor. So if you hit him a lot, just kind of in a row, you'll eventually break the armor, as you can see here. And it doesn't save him from being thrown in any way, shape, or form, right? But he does have it. So he can basically, as a walking tank, literally tank through attacks. And he'll not be able to go through all of them. The armor doesn't last forever, but he can go through a lot before he takes proper hit. And then also has hit stun. Oh, and just to note, the armor mechanic, the devs know what's up. Because that is the no-sell, brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Diesel Mech is not selling for these indie, flippy, vanilla midgets. Let's put it that way, right? So yeah, he's got the no-sell on. Now to talk, one of the reasons why you would pick a big boy character in a fighting game is you want those big boy normals, and he's got it. Basically everything other than just his light, which I find kind of nice just because he's like hitting you with the double salute, which I think is kind of cool, right? He's got the big normals, right? So Stand B is really big, Stand C is really big, Stand D, extra big, right? He's a big boy, he's a big boy. But the thing is, all of these normals come with modular mechanics. So everything but the light, you can do something different with. So here's Stand B, big punch, right? And if you hold it, it comes quite shocking now, doesn't it? So the regular one you can't do much with. However, say if I'm looking to do the held version, I can get some combos going on there. That's kind of cool. Say the opponent is blocking. And by the way, Eleanor has a fantastic block, by the way. It will do chip damage, as you can see here. Stand C, the bigger punch, much the same deal here. If we hold it, now has an elemental property, it freezes, of which you can definitely juggle after the fact, right? And much the same here. Does do chip damage on block versus the regular version, which does not. And Stand D is a little different. This is the big boot. Now, what happens here is not holding it, but hitting buttons while you're doing it, where you can rev the engine. So here's the basic hit where it launches you out. If we rev the engine, and instead has a bit of a suction effect. So this is just me hitting a button before the attack connects. And if you hit multiple buttons, you can actually rev it more than once. And if you do, instead of the vacuum effect, it'll now become a wall bounce, from which naturally you can get a bit of a combo from, right? So that's kind of cool. So modular properties on a lot of the moves, a lot of the normals. That's great. Now, actually, let's talk revving the engine. So this is actually a mechanic that's throughout several moves. Any basic move that we showed here, like holding a button, will rev the engine. And you'll get progressively more heated up. And then eventually you'll turn that big red state, which we'll talk about in a second. Not right now, not right now. Stand D, we mentioned rev once, it's a pull-in effect. Rev twice, it becomes a wall bounce, right? There's also things like your BND, which is a gigantic true overhead, by the way. True overhead can hit from pretty far away, as you can see, right? And if you rev it, it makes it quicker. And if you rev it twice, just hit the button twice, not only is it quicker, it becomes a bounce. And if we can bounce them, once again, this is an overhead, so you can catch people. You can sucker people with this, right? You can do something with that, right? Not bad for a sneaky, gigantic overhead. Not bad at all. And there's other things, too, that can rev the engine, like his flight. So if you're jumping, just keep holding up, and he can fly, and he can just do aerial attacks. He's got some unique aerial attacks as well, because while he's flying, he can reach out and give you the boot. And these also keep those properties, by the way. If you hold the button, your aerial moves change as well. So jump C is a regular old boot, but hold C, jumping, comes the freeze property again. While he's jumping, jump B basically poops out a little landmine. And you can have a couple of these on screen, but they don't last forever, right? But if you hold jump B, then comes a big landmine. And it just kind of stays there. It does not just go away as quick as the other ones do, right? So you can control a lot of the screen, control a lot of the lanes. Once again, this is a lane-based game. So you can just plant one of these bad boys in a lane and then just hide behind or switch lanes. Like, you can control space really well. But as you see, it's starting to heat up here. What does that heating up mean? It's almost like I'm saving it for a big reveal later on, right? And that's exactly what we're doing. So let's move to the next section. Just to mention some of his special moves now while we're going through showcasing Diesel Mech. So you may notice me shooting a big projectile at several points, right? Well, it's a little more complicated than that, actually. Because it's just a quarter circle forward, hit a button move. But you actually have to load the shell. And then you can shoot it. It's a very fast projectile, very strong projectile. And also, you can shoot at different angles. You can shoot it upwards as well, which is great because there's quite a bit of aerial combos in the game. And, we mentioned, you can just float around, be silly in the air. Well, you can definitely shoot it while you're also in the air, right? And just kind of go from there. So it gives them a very strong presence. Now, stages in this game are a bit longer than the average fighting game stage. So it doesn't always reach. Once again, there can be up to 4 players here, right? So stage has to be extra long to account for that. But yeah, it's pretty powerful. But the one thing about this, remember at the beginning of the video, we talked about our cat pal. And the cat beats you up while you're inside the throw, right? Well, you can shoot out the opponent while they're inside. They become your projectile. So if I suck up the enemy, I can shoot them into another enemy. That is absolutely how this works in this game, because that's the best way about it. Right? Like, of course it works that way. That makes everyone happy. I want to shoot you into your partner. That's damn cool. So it very much can be the case where you can just use your enemies against each other. I think that's really, really neat. Also, another thing Diesel Mech can do as a big robot man is he can shoot some missiles at people. And not only can he shoot some, might argue that they're hidden or not, right? But he can shoot a hell of a lot of missiles, actually. Now, in a multiplayer team format specifically, the missiles will sort of like rotate between the enemies, right? Keep it fair, as it were. But yeah, that's a big thing. Also, raises his heat, which we'll talk about. But yeah, so if you just want to sit back and just kind of cause some chaos, homing's not perfect, as you can see. You do got to be a little further away from the enemy to really make it count. But this is a really, really good way to do it. All right, let's tear off the Band-Aid now. Let's talk about what that big, crazy powered-up state is, right? We can do a lot of things going into it, a bunch of normals, being, you know, jumping, crouching, standing. If you hold them, you get new powers, new properties where you can freeze people, rev to like either get regular hits or things like wall splats, right? But what happens when we're in this mode specifically? Well, now we're in the red mode and literally nothing can stop me. I don't have super armor, I have hyper armor. I am very literally unstoppable in anything I choose. So that means I hit any attacks, I'm always going to win. Like, you can trade all you want. I have hyper armor. I'm not going to lose. So what's the downside, right? Well, the downside is while you're in that big red state, you can't exactly block. Blocking, kind of an important deal in fighting games, right? So while you might be able to hyper armor through everything, you will always take all the damage coming your way. So if you are particularly at lower health, that means the enemy can just like do a super. It's guaranteed to hit you, you'll die right away. But it's also really good for, well, just kind of being crazy. And let's face it, like us fighting game fans, if you're playing a big character, you're not here for like scientific play. You're here to be big. And when you're in that state, you are as big as it gets. Now, just to showcase some of the super moves here. So one of his supers, it's basically just a bigger version of loading up the shell and shooting it, right? That's the animation. It's a much bigger shell and consequently a much bigger hit. And if he can get you in a bit of a combo going on here, well, he gives you the wall splat to end all wall splats. Because I guarantee you, you've never seen a wall splat that high up. And for the inquisitive minds out there, can't I just suck people in and shoot them? Well, yes, you can. And you can absolutely suck them in, throw in another bullet, and then shoot them out with that super bullet on top of that for an incredible amount of damage. So you can absolutely play around with it and get some pretty interesting things going on. And his other super, well, we're gonna look a little silly here because you can just turn into a tank. And when you're in tank, you don't have lane movement anymore. You just have free movement. And when you're a tank, like you can just go like, you shoot your little blaster lasers. You can lay your landmines, right? Like, you can get really silly. Now, some of the other things is he does have a bit of a jump, so he's not completely helpless. And I say he's not completely helpless because he can't block. He has to rely on his armor, right? So that's the thing. Now, while you're doing this, you can also hold the laser shot, right? And the more you hold it, well, the better the laser shot gets. And from here, this also heats you up, as you can see here. Since you can't block, this is actually sort of ideal. Because then it gives you the true hyper armor, so you can just absolutely tank through everything. And you might notice it hasn't gone away yet, right? There's no meter, there's no nothing. You're basically in here for kind of as long as you want. You just have to like kind of manually leave the state. And one fun thing about this, if you hold your buster cannon, for lack of a better term, right? You charge up and then you leave your state, you keep that sharp, like charged shot. And next time you shoot your cannon, it's going to be that charged shot. So that's actually really cool. Lets you keep that. Also, one of the fun things about this game, you know, everyone can taunt, right? Fighting game, everyone can taunt, right? His taunt's weaponized. It's actually an OTG attack, off the ground attack. So if I knock you down, I can literally stomp you while taunting. So if you're looking for a stylish way to end the match, pretty good way to do it. Now, let me show you just a few showcase combos here. Probably not the most optimal, but just to give you a little bit of a head start if you want to try out the character in the demo when it goes live. So that's a bit of a look at Diesel Mech, and yes, there's a lot of other characters besides the big boy in the game. Eleanor especially, I think is really, really cool. Check out the Eleanor video. It's in the video description. And check out Diesel Legacy. Once again, the demo is live. You can also call it a beta. You can have all sorts of features, play online, check out everything basically on June 10th through the 17th. So doesn't hurt you to try it out, doesn't it? Anyways, that is the video. That is the character. I think he's pretty cool. And well, that's everything. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some Diesel Legacy.